Hello and welcome to DFS Coach Talk. Today is Tuesday, August the 30th, 2022. I am Joe Sarvati, affectionately known as Coach, and I am joined by the one and only Mr. Josh Crash Davis. And I think that's you. I can't, there's such a glare. I can't quite see, but it's either Crash Davis or Charlie Morton. Who is that on the other side?
Yeah, it's me. I lost that bet. It was looking good for me early, but you Darvish pulled it together, and so I am sans hat today.
Yeah, I love it. You know what though? You're up in Milwaukee, and what a hell of a ball game you got to see last night.
Oh my God, that was
tell us a little bit about it.
So I told everybody yesterday morning in our Discord that I really liked Garrett Mitchell. His value, he was $2,000 on both Fanduel and DraftKings and $8 on Yahoo.
Yeah.
And so I posted in there about him. He's a really promising prospect. He was a top 20 pick overall in 2020. And so he comes in, he gets first, I think, at bat, gets on base, gets a stolen base, so gets the night started the right way for him. And then in the seventh, I believe it was the seventh inning, it's a game-tying home run, which was his first home run of his career.
Wow.
And then Keston Hiura hits the walk-off home run in the ninth inning. So just went from, being a little bit bummed out because it looked like we might lose this game to the Pirates. And, they've had our number of late. And so went from that to just complete jubilation in the end of the game. So it was awesome.
I bet you it was fantastic. You may want to come down a little bit, though, because you're cutting your top of your head off.
Okay.
So, I mean, we if we're going to give people – there we go. We got to give people so it's just we went up 6 degrees of light now. So thank you very much. But well, that's great. I'm glad. And then you got tonight's game. Who's pitching tonight again? What do you got the matchup for you?
It's Merrill. I just went blank. What's his name? Oh shoot, what's his name?
We'll look it up.
It's just went total blank.
No worries.
Mitchell or
we'll go over it when we go over.
I know it's Jason Alexander for the Brewers. I know that.
But, yes.
Yeah.
And Mitch Keller.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I always get Merrill Kelly and Mitch Keller mixed up.
So. That makes perfect sense. No doubt about it. Well, hopefully you see just as good of a game tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Can't beat that. Well, let's check chat real quick here. I'll tell you, last night was an interesting night. We started off pretty bad, but man, what a fantastic finish we had on Fanduel again.
Yeah.
So hopefully everybody in here listened in. My man home run call, Shohei, came through for me.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, I'll tell you what though, what a crazy pitching night it was.
Yeah.
All the chalk pitchers got killed.
I know. It
makes sense.
Yeah. And that was another thing. Jose Suarez, I think, or Ranger Suarez, which one was it? One of the two ended up being the top pitcher on the slate. And the
good Suarez from the Angels.
Yeah.
My favorite Ranger didn't do very well.
Okay. Yeah. I wasn't able to keep up with everything like I normally do, obviously, because I was in there in the stadium watching the game. But so Jose Suarez ended up being the top scorer on Fanduel, but Garrett Mitchell was the top hitter, so that was awesome too.
Incredible. Yeah, it was a wild night, and we were able to get there Fanduel wise, have a really profitable night. So that was pretty cool under the circumstances of nobody knew what was going on yesterday. It was nuts. But real quick look, hello Rodney Pollard. Thank you for being first to the show today. MB, how are you, man? I sent you an invite, I believe, MB, for to jump in Discord. I sent that earlier this morning, so hopefully you can join us sometime throughout the day. MB's got his sunglasses, hopefully a couple pairs on. Let's see who else jumped in there. Tony A, what's up, man? Great to see you. King of Smack, how's it going? Tony A's in with us. he does look like a pro wrestler, like a terrifying one, like the bad guy that comes in there and just beats the heck out of people. I agree with you. Professional wrestler.
That's right. I had to look this up. Yeah, I can kind of see that. Yeah.
Terrific Tuesday vibes. Can I steal that one? King of all trades. I want to use that in our Discord. Let's call it a terrific Tuesday for sure.
He said he's done with the chalk, JT.
Yeah, there was all the chalk choked yesterday though. So we were, and nobody got away from choking on some chalk yesterday. It was
right.
brutal.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just, and that's happened quite a few times, honestly, with Corbin Burns and Rodon when they've been chalky, and I like to get those guys when they're lower owned, but it is what it is. I mean, Burns he started out really well. He really did. And then he just lost it. And then he gave up 2 or 3 home runs.
It was ridiculous. So, it was not good. And I never dreamt Rodon would get smashed like that against that team too. But I'm with you guys. And King of Smack, you hit it right on the nose. I saw something right as I clicked off yesterday and it said I didn't answer all the questions or something. I looked back and I did see King of Smack, and is exactly what he said. Is it seems like the trend has been the chalky, expensive pitchers are getting hit, and those mid-level, cheaper 7, 8K, 9K guys, or even less than 9K, are getting it done. And man, if we would have used that strategy yesterday, King of Smack, we'd have all been better for it. But I don't know anybody that faded both Burns and Rodon. I mean, that would have been pretty damn contrarian and gutsy if we did. That's for sure. But I know chalk. I'll tell you, chalk's overrated too. We just had a big discussion in our Coach Talk Discord about this too. Everybody thinks, okay, if you're playing cash games, you got to just play the chalk. Cash means play the chalk. No, it doesn't. I mean, you got to back up everything that you're looking at and saying, and if it's chalk, it's chalk. If it's not, it's not. You just have to make those determinations slate by slate and matchup by matchup. That's what makes this so incredible. I mean, I know people have specific guidelines they follow, and that's great. If you're a 150 max player and you're going to plug everything in and it's going to spit it out and you're going to upload it, then that's the way to go. But let's face it. I think the number was like 96 or 97 out of 100 players on daily fantasy sports don't have the luxury to have the bankroll to play that way. Most of us will build out some lineups. Some will play 3 max, 10 max, 20 max if you're lucky, but a lot of us just play, pick our spots, play the single entries, build some lineups. That's just the reality of it. And to do that, sometimes you play chalk, sometimes you have to fade chalk, sometimes it's in cash games, sometimes it's single entry, sometimes it's the multi-entry. So that's why we're here. We love, our niche in this space, in the DFS industry, is being able to do that with our members. And that's what's had us super successful. That's why I've been able to do this for 8 years and do it extremely successfully. And we have a lot of members that are following suit with that. So we are going to keep that going big time. So what else is in there? Rodney says, my outfield took me to second place on Fanduel. Ohtani, Judge, and Mitchell. Very nice.
Yeah, very nice.
Yep. And that saved me too, my hitting. I was high. Ohtani was my home run pick on here yesterday. That was massive getting that from him late. Let's see. Perfect name for what's the Crash's wrestler name? Did we say what we were?
I think he's saying Crash Davis is the perfect name for a wrestler.
It is baseball / wrestling. Now we know though that, and you know what? Your move could be the atomic head slam. You could just take that dome right into somebody, take them out. Submission, it's over with. Let's see. I've been using that strategy for sure, Coach, and I definitely faded Bernard wrote on, I played Suarez. Good. Suarez and Pablo. Excellent. And really that is a smart way to do it. I mean, you got to mix it up, and there's no perfect magic bullet, but talking it through, listening to podcasts, hopefully ours being your number one, and then building and shifting and watching the weather and doing all of those things are massively important. It all builds in. So I'm with you. Mitchell was a great differentiator. Excellent. Mr. Few got that one. All right. So a couple of things here. There's 15 games on the slate today. We're going to mainly go over the 12 that are on the main slate. DraftKings, Fanduel, and Yahoo all have those 12 games that we're concentrating on. Let's see here. Great guy. Have a blast. Crash looking great. Coach Mom weighing in. She loves that. She loves the dome there. So you've got a fan, Crash. You've got a groupie there. I love it.
I just sent this link to my wife, so we'll see if she shows up in chat here. I've never had her do that before, but she might since I'm on the road.
Well, I got to really be careful now. I don't want to get in trouble, so I better be super careful. All right, with these games, we do have some weather situations. So let's just chat about that briefly here because, again, that's a massive player. The one game that I'm most worried about is Oakland at Washington. Definitely, we know Washington is really wonky with canceling and delaying, and who knows what they're going to do there. So that's the number one game we're going to watch. We'll be posting radar and doing all of that in Discord with our members. So Oakland at Washington is the biggest concern. Three other spots that I'll mention because there are some possibilities of delays or rain, and that would be the Dodgers at the Mets, but I think we'll be okay, but maybe a delay within that. So we need to follow that closely. The other one, Colorado at Atlanta. We've been dealing with these pop-up thunderstorms in Atlanta all week. I think it'll be similar there. And actually, I took the rest off. So I'm going to give the full clear on everything else right now, except for Washington, big concern there. Dodgers, Mets, Colorado, Atlanta, we're going to watch closely. So when you're building these initial lineups, keep that, in your mind so that we know when we get to those, you put a star around them and you say, okay, we're going to watch these because you cannot take a zero. That's for sure. Abel, how you doing, man? You got close to cashing on Saturday. Today's the day. Let's get it. Why not today? That's for sure. We got, let's see if I can I reach over there and rub the top of Crash's head? Yeah. And you froze for a second there too. Your eyes were shut. I was rubbing the top of your head. We're going to win $1 million. Is there a Millie Maker we can play?
I was a little concerned about the internet here because they have two different packages and we had the basic internet. They have an enhanced package that we almost signed up for, but anyway, we're just going to roll with it.
It seems good right now.
Most of the time, so yeah.
Yeah, I think you're good. Hey, anytime anybody wants to throw weather things in the chat, give us updates. Boots on the ground are the best thing in the world. I'm in Western PA now, so I like to add in there Cleveland, Pittsburgh games especially. But King of Smacks over by Atlanta, in a ways, not right there, but obviously Mississippi close by. And it looks like maybe some rain moving in and out. So keep us updated on that because we always know that can be a slate shifter is what I was trying to say. Not a shade sifter, but a slate shifter. Yeah. All right, 15 games, Crash. We got so much to cover. It is not even funny. On the way in here, thumbs up. Let's hit the thumbs up right now if you can on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button and give us a quick comment. That combination helps really move us up the algorithm on YouTube. And then click the little alert so you know when any of our podcasts post. If you're on Twitter, a like, retweet, let other people know we're on live right now. We'd really appreciate that. That means a lot. All right, so the 15 games are on the board. There's 3 early games that we're not going to concern ourselves much with, but I will mention them in case anybody is playing them. It is 6:10 Baltimore at Cleveland, 77 degrees in Cleveland, 13-mile-an-hour wind left to right. Should be clear by game time. Some showers moved through earlier. 8.5 is that total. 3.87 applied for Baltimore, 4.63 for the Guardians. Spencer Watkins, 5.8K. Cal Quantrill, 7.7K. So, again, Baltimore's been playing good ball. This is going to be a big series between these two teams that are both battling to try to get in the playoffs.
Yeah. It's definitely going to be an interesting series for sure. Any love for either side of these, Coach?
I'm not crazy about either side, to be honest with you, and I'm not going to play the earlier slate, so I haven't.
Yeah, I'm not either.
Driven down too much, but I like the way Baltimore's been hitting. But Cal Quantrill has definitely been better in the second half. So not a game I would just say, dive all over one side or the other. That's for sure.
Right. I'm sure St. Louis and Cincinnati are going to get the majority of the ownership on this slate. So
I would think so. And, you're going to have major chalk there, and you're going to have a major, buy up as far as trying to get the bats, because the run total's high and the pitcher's terrible. So let's look at that one. It's 640 Cardinals and Reds. I know Lanny's going to be posting the Cardinals stuff in there to bug you about the Brewers. So Lanny, if you're listening, I screwed up on the mascot, man. I put the Arizona football's mascot. It was my mistake, but we'll make up for it today, Lanny, no problem. It is Dakota Hudson, 6.1K against the struggling Justin Dunn at 5.5K. And Vegas has set this one as a big number, 10.5, wind blowing out to left, 8 to 10 miles an hour. How about this implied total, Crash? 6.28 for the Cardinals, 6.28, and then 4.22 for the Reds. That's the biggest implied that I've seen outside of Coors or some crazy Wrigley win game. Have you seen one that high?
No, that's really high. 10.5. Wow. Yep. Yeah, that's up there.
And 6.28 implied of that is with the Cardinals, which is really amazing.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me, though. I mean, they put up 13 runs last night. So
yeah, they're playing great ball. Yeah. So if you're playing that early slate, all the Cardinals you can eat, I would assume is the way to go. And then the third early game that's not on the main slate here, it's Tampa at Miami. Only 6.5 in this game. Hardly any at all, because you got a couple of solid pitchers here. It is in Miami in the Dome. 6.5 is the total. 3.80 implied for Tampa. Only 2.70 for the Marlins. Shane McClanahan, which should be 100% owned if you're playing that early slate.
Yeah.
He's 11.2K, the lefty, against fellow lefty Jesus Luzardo, 8.7K. So I would assume early slates, everybody's going to have pitchers from that game and hitters from the Cardinals game or Reds game and Cardinals.
Yeah, I think so too.
All right, let's get into the big. We got so much to go over here. We want to catch it all. So let's start right off with Oakland and Washington. Again, that's the biggest weather concern on the slate. It ridiculously says here 74% chance of rain at first pitch. That doesn't look really promising.
Yeah, it's Washington too, which we've always talked about. They have the most strict weather policy of any team I know. So
if they see this forecast, they may cancel before a drop of rain falls. That's how Washington is.
Yeah, they'll probably postpone that game well before first pitch. So
I'm not going to put any of these players in my lineup in my first go through, so I don't, in case it does get postponed or delayed. I'm not even going to mess with it.
Yeah, I agree.
So it is 83 degrees in Washington, wind blowing out to right at 10 miles an hour, all kinds of rain expected, a split number on the implied total. It's 8 total in Vegas, 4 each. Cole Irvin, the lefty, 7.9K. Eric Fetty, 5.7K for the Nationals. I'm not crazy about either pitcher. I don't like the hitting from either team. And with a weather game, this is one of the easier passes.
Yeah.
I think you don't even have to stress it personally.
Yeah. This is definitely a pass for me. I'll have none of this game.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, you don't have to force it. Why do that? I mean, if you're dying to get in some Oakland or Washington bats, that might not be the best strategy.
Probably off to the wrong lineup strategy there.
Exactly. All right, let's get on to the first game that could make a big impact here. It's the Chicago Cubs at the Toronto Blue Jays. This game's at 7:07. The roof should be open in Toronto, so a little more conducive to runs there. 8's the total. 3.24 implied for the Cubs, 4.76 for the Blue Jays. Marcus Stroman, 7.4K against Kevin Gausman, 8.7K for the Blue Jays. So I have one of my pitchers here, Crash.
Okay.
That I'm going to play. I don't have a true buy up pitcher today. I have two value pitchers, which is a really pleasant issue to have, because when you have two buy ups, then it's tough. You're not going to get hitting. I have some teams I want to stack that I know are going to get some ownership, and I want a little bit of all of them. So I believe I've found two value pitchers that make a lot of sense. And my first one is Kevin Gausman. Do you like Gausman at all?
A little bit. That's really interesting though, Coach, because I had an easier time finding my buy-up pitcher than I did my value pitcher. So
interesting.
That's a little, a
lot of different ways to strategize it, but I really want bats tonight. And I just didn't feel like I wanted to just go and grab the big price dudes, not just because we're, what was mentioned in chat and what's been happening where these top price guys haven't been getting it done. I mean, that's neither here nor there, but I just, the matchups, the way they are, the Cubs just to me are struggling. I mean, they've given it over to a lot of young guys that are just, learning the game and figuring it out, and they just have not been hitting well. And here's the thing with Gausman. He's had a few outings where he's been inconsistent, where he's got knocked around a little bit. Cleveland got to him the other day, but in general, he pitched a terrific game against the Yankees, 7 shutout innings for a 52. He had 64 against Tampa. That's no cup of tea. 8 shutout, 1 hit shutout innings, he's had some tough matchups. Boston, he at least hung in there in the 20s, but he's not a shoe-in to grab you those 50s and 60s.
Right.
But against a Cubs team that I think is playing really lousy, they're also 5th in the league in strikeouts against right-handed pitchers. And we know Gausman can get some Ks. He's not going to get you, 12, 13 strikeouts, but he's had multiple 10 strikeout games this year, lots of 7s, 6s. And I think if he just keeps the Cubs down, they're 14th in the league against righties, only 244. And I just feel he's in a comfortable spot at home, and he's cheap. And, when you can get Gausman cheap in a situation against a bad team, he's only 8-7 on DraftKings, which I think is a steal. He is 10-2 on Fanduel, but probably won't go with him there. But he's still pretty cheap, and he's only 41 on Yahoo. So you're not going to get much cheaper with Gausman there. So that's really my big take on this game. Was that pitcher? I think you can get to some of the Blue Jays for sure. There are some guys slumping in that lineup, but there's also, some spots you can go to anywhere up and down with Springer, Guerrero, Gurriel, Kirk, Hernandez, Bichette, Chapman, all the way down, really top 7. You got to pay a little bit for them, but you can mini stack it 2-3 guys. That's what I'm planning on doing. So I will be a Blue Jay supporter tonight for sure. You still there?
Yeah, I am.
Are you? Yeah. What is your comments on Cubs Blue Jays?
Yeah, I was just listening to what you're saying. So the Cubs have been playing okay. I mean, they lost like 5-4 yesterday to the Blue Jays, so it wasn't like they got blown out or anything. They had that game on Sunday with the Brewers where they went back and forth. They lost 9-7, so they can score some runs. I'm a little bit less excited about Gausman, I think, than you, but I don't think he's a bad play. I just don't know that he's going to have that, 40, 50 fantasy point type game in this matchup.
What about hitting?
Yeah, I mean, I like Toronto. I like, of course, Guerrero and Springer at the top, that lineup, and then Chapman at the bottom. Those would probably be my favorite three from Toronto.
Wow. Well, I'm getting served here by my own mother. I mean, I'm proud and honored that I have a mom that follows DFS and she's in here, but she's slamming me, Crash. Can you believe it? She's coming to
I
your
see
rescue.
that. Yeah, I see that.
What the heck? Oh man. You know what? That's all right. She gets a pass. You got to let your mother smack you around. No worries. I got you. All right. So let's move to game 2 here. We've got Seattle Mariners at the Detroit Tigers. It is a 7-10 game. It is a 7.5 total. 77 degrees, all sevens here. 77 degrees in Detroit. 13-mile-an-hour wind blowing out to left. That's not pleasant for the pitchers.
No.
4.23 implied for Seattle, 3.27 for the Tigers. George Kirby, 8.5K, and Matt Manning, the youngster, takes the hill for Detroit, 6.7K. I've heard lots of rumblings of Kirby being fairly popular today because we know Detroit's bats against righties can be just hellacious.
Mm-hmm.
Are you on the Kirby
bandwagon? I actually, for my value pitcher, I actually am on the other side with Matt Manning.
Wow.
He's a little expensive on Fanduel at 8,800, but he's only 6,700 on DraftKings. His 3 of his last 4 starts, he's been, pitching very well. He scored 40+ fantasy points in 3 of the last 4 against San Francisco, the Angels, and Tampa Bay Rays. So pretty solid teams that he's been facing. Against San Francisco, which was his last start, it was the best start of the year. He had 6 shutout innings and struck out 8 for 52 fantasy points. So he was one of the top prospects a few years ago, and he seems to really be finding his way of late. So I like Matt Manning on DraftKings. Probably not going to get to him at 8,800 on FanDuel.
Wow. Now, let's see here, because I don't see him on. I'm just grabbing the ownership because I wanted to get, he is. I mean, that is really contrarian, Crash. So let's talk a little bit about the latest ownership projections right now for pitching.
Okay.
What's really amazing is of all the times that we do this, looking at the stacks comparison, like who's owning who here on the main slate, it is spread out more than I've ever seen it. It's like there's no double-digit ownership teams. There's nobody that's in the perfect spot in the right stadium. Just not heavy chalk anywhere on the stack side. So you can feel good, whoever you're confident in stacking up, that you're not going to be, getting chalk.
Yeah.
Pitching's a different story.
Where is that located? Because I'm seeing yesterday's numbers here.
If you're not on it, you got to drill down. There's multiple things there. The link was in there from Deb yesterday. So,
I'll have to find it.
Yeah. So right now, pitching wise on DraftKings, it's Max Fried at 30%, followed closely by my guy Gausman at 30% and Blake Snell at 30%. And then Nola 25, Giolito 18, Kirby, who we just mentioned in this game, 15. And then it's all single digits, including your guy, Matt Manning, at 0.5%, Crash. So this would be your best pitching call of the year. Then let's talk about FanDuel real quick. Blake Snell is 19%. Fried is second right now, projected on Fanduel at 18%, 14 for Aaron Nola. Oh, I included the whole slates instead of the main. Sorry about that. Let's see here. Oh, no, that's okay. And then Lucas Giolito, 14%, Gausman, 12, everybody else single digits there. So really spread out on Fanduel with the one pitcher site. And then two pitcher site Yahoo, it's you've got a bunch of guys in double digits, but Gausman, Fried, Framber Valdez, and Blake Snell are all in that 30 to 32% area. And those are the four guys getting the most ownership there. So it's a weird slate. It's not like I said, there's not just massive chalk. I would say Fried right now getting the most love pitching wise, but from a stack standpoint, you're going to really be able to build your lineup today and not feel like it's going to be chalk city,
Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree with that.
And I'll tell you, I agree with you. King of Smack Blue Jays have murdered me when I use them as a stack, because somebody's just always throwing blanks up there, whether it's Gurriel or if it's Bichette. He's had some really bad games in the mix, but I still think, Springer I had the other day, he went over, but there's going to be a few games, maybe tonight's the one, where you get Springer, Guerrero, Bichette, Teoscar. Some of these guys are going to put it together. So I would not sell the Blue Jays short just yet, but you do have to be careful. Excuse me. I'm not a 4 or 5 man stack with them, but 2 or 3 for sure for the Blue Jays, I think are reasonable for sure. What's up, Absolute Power? Thanks for joining in. Let's see. Stop my pitchers scored less than 10 and 6 yesterday. You and everybody else, nobody in the world had the pitching figured out yesterday. That's for damn sure. All right. What else do you have on this game, Crash? Anything?
No, that was about it.
That Matt Manning take is one of the more gutsy ones of the year. So I'm rooting for it.
Yeah, hopefully it'll pull through for me. I don't feel great about really any of these value pitchers, but of the ones I saw, he's probably been pitching the best of the options available around that price tag, especially. So
there's plenty of cheap hitters if you want to buy up to, you can do that too.
Yeah.
All right, another 7-10 game. It's the Dodgers and Mets. I don't know why I'm losing my voice today.
Uh-oh.
Too many podcasts, I guess. But it's going to be warm in New York, 79 degrees, wind blowing out to left at 13 miles an hour. 8.5 is the total in Vegas. 4.60 for the Dodgers, 3.90 for the Mets. Andrew Heaney, lefty, 9.6K. Some big numbers from him, huge strikeout numbers this year against Taijuan Walker. I dogged him a little bit last time, and he was all right, 7.2K. So a lot of interest in this game from everybody here. I think Dodgers, Mets. What are you leaning, Crash?
I lean more towards the Dodgers in this matchup. I think Heaney's been pitching a little bit better than Walker. I know the Mets are good against lefties, but I just think the Dodgers are a better team overall. So I kind of just lean with the Dodgers. Probably like Gavin Lux if you're looking for some value as a lefty against a righty.
Yeah. If you look at Haney's number, his strikeout percentages and everything, it's pretty astounding what a good year he's had. Yeah. And he is starting to go a little deeper in games.
Right.
So you can consider him today. He was right on the cusp for me. I don't have him in my initial build here, but I'm thinking about it. But like you said, the Mets are crafty, though. They hit just a little bit of everybody. They have enough righties with Marte and Lindor switch hitting, and, of course, Alonso and Ruff and Canna, Deb's favorite player. So they can throw some guys at you. So it just couldn't quite make the cut for me with Haney because he's a little expensive. And I've always said this with Andrew Haney. When you think he's good to go is when he usually gets smacked around. And that scared me. I'm not a Taijuan Walker guy at all. I I'm not in his corner. I haven't been. I know he's pitched some good games. So I'd like to get some Dodgers exposure, but how can you afford these guys? It's ridiculous.
Mhm.
Betts is 6'4", Trey's 6'3", 5'9" for Freeman, and then you go 5'3" for Will Smith, 4'7" for Muncy. I mean, it's an arm and a leg. But here's what I'll tell you. I have my home run pick here, Crash.
Okay.
Freddie Freeman, the lefty against Tyon Walker, going deep tonight. I want to keep this streak, knock on wood, keep this streak going on my home run hitters. So I want some Dodgers exposure. And because I'm not paying up for either pitcher, I'm going to find myself 2 or 3 Dodgers to get in my lineup.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I like that call.
All right. We move to the 7:20 game, Colorado Rockies at the Atlanta Braves. This game is 84 degrees in Atlanta, slight breeze blowing out to left center, 6 miles an hour. 8.5 is the Vegas total, a low 2.64 for the Rockies and 5.86 for the Braves. Jose Urena, who's been bad, going against Max Fried, who I guess you could call him the chalk on the slate. He's probably going to be most owned. Pretty much everywhere. He's 9.9K on DraftKings, which is very fair. If I was paying up for a pitcher, it would be Fried. I think he deserves ownership.
Yeah, I did too. I mean, we just saw the Rockies against David Peterson, who is not as good as Max Fried, in my opinion. They struggled with him. They got shut out last Saturday. So Fried, he actually faced the Rockies in Coors in June, and he had an 8-inning shutout for 40 fantasy points. He only had 4 strikeouts, so he didn't get a ton of strikeouts. But anytime you can pitch an 8-inning shutout in Coors, that has my attention. So
that is impressive.
Yeah, I like him with the way the Rockies have struggled on the road. It's either the worst or second worst offense on the road this year. So they really struggle outside of Coors. So Fried is my top pay-up pitcher.
The only thing that scared me, and we talked about this before, and shout out to Colin. I don't think Colin Chachoff's in here. As far as home road splits, Colorado's one of the worst in the history of baseball.
Yeah.
They hit 40 points less on the road, all that stuff. Now, all Rockies teams always do worse on the road because it's Coors, so they get that advantage. So I get all that, but you got to remember this too. They hit lefties at a higher average than any other team in baseball. Yeah. They're the number one batting average versus lefties in Major League Baseball. So yes, that's a little skewed because some of that's in Coors. I get it. But the bottom line is, as bad as they are on the road, they are decent against lefties. So it's something to consider. Fried's an elite lefty, so it probably doesn't count as much. But here's a great question. I love this, and I want to just take a minute here. King of Smack asked this question, and I love it, and it helps me frame things for everybody else, because his question was, what do you consider a value pitcher? So here's my answer to that. And this goes for everything that we talk about in here and everything we talk about with our members. It all has to do with that specific slate, the pricing, the matchups, and what's going on. So let me explain it this way. If there's a slate with a bunch of high price pitchers and then the low price pitchers around 9K or whatever it is on that particular slate, that's a value pitcher because you're getting a couple grand savings in different spots. Now, if there's a slate with a bunch of junk pitchers and everybody's in the mid 9s and all of that, and the guy's 9K, that's not a value pitcher to me, because so again, 9K means something different on every slate. That's what I always tell everybody. Everybody, the lazy people in this industry, and I'm not trying to smash anybody else, but anybody that puts anything in a box in DFS, you're missing the boat. A value pitcher on one slate is a buy up on another that could be a fade on another because of his pricing. You have to look at each individual slate in that type of situation, in a stack situation. Leverage is completely important in everything you do in DFS, sometimes it matters a lot. Like if we're like right now, I didn't even waste everybody's time to go over the stack list because it's all jammed together. There's no big standouts. But where there's a stack day where we have two teams over 50% owned, now we got to look at getting leverage, or if you're going to play a cash game, you have to have that cash, some exposure to that stack of the cash team, even as a chalk blocker or something of that nature.
Yeah.
So that's the points I'm making are that varies and there's no standard answer. So for me, Gausman's pricing, even though it seems like it's in the lower high range or upper mid range, on the other guys that are on this slate, that's how you have to look at it. So, you'll always get the extra with me and the reasoning behind it. And again, to me, nothing fits in a box. As soon as you start categorizing things in DFS, you're minimizing your potential to do better. So look at each individual slate, break it out that way, and then rank and do things that you have to do from there. So I wanted to say that because it's a perfect question from King of Smack, and it fits into really everything that we do here with fades and buy-ups and everything else that we do. So hopefully that helps and that answers that question.
Yep. And as far as the hitting goes, Atlanta is my top stack, and Matt Olson, who is 3 for 4 with a 2 singles and a double against Jose Urena. He is my home run call for today.
Yep. I like that call. Atlanta is going to be one of my stacks as well. Alexa, shut off the timer. Sorry, folks. So here's the thing. Again, with not spending a ton on my pitching, I'm going to be able to get some Atlanta stack in there. My BVP play of the day is Ronald Acuna.
Yeah.
And Alexa, shut off the timer. How come Alexa doesn't listen sometimes?
Like one of your kids, right?
Yeah. Tell me about it. All right. Acuna against Jose Urena. First of all, they have a history. Urena's hit him like 3 times. You never know. Now, my only fear here is that Urena throws at him and Acuna charges the mound and gets thrown out. So I hope to God that doesn't happen. Yeah. But in the past, he's hit him, and he hates his gut, so he wants to hit him. He's homered off of him, 880 OPS, 471 slugging, 409 OBP. He's walked 3 times. And again, I love bad blood when it's a fiery player like Acuna. So he goes up there with a little bit different stride and step. And for that reason, he is my BVP today. I love the psychological aspect of things like that. No question about it.
Yeah.
So he's my BVP. And I do want some Atlanta stack. I think Olson's a great play today. I think he's in the mix. I think you can go, 1 through 6 really with Atlanta, get any piece of that. Acuna is, what does that say? Day to day? Is he? Oh, day to day. Okay. If he's, well, obviously we got to watch that, because if he's out, then we're not going to play him. But,
right.
If he's in, I like him in this matchup. I think he'll be okay. He gets dinged a little bit all the time, but we'll know ahead of time. It's an early enough game that we should be fine.
Yeah, I think we'll be fine. And then you got the value play for Atlanta with Grissom. You can't sleep on him. He's been pretty impressive. So,
yeah, he's an up-and-comer. That kid is going to be a player in this league for sure.
Absolutely.
All right, let's move on. 740, Boston Red Sox, Minnesota Twins. It is 77 degrees in Minnesota, warm. Wind blowing out to right center, 8 miles an hour. Vegas totals 9. It's a 4.27 Red Sox implied, 4.73 Twins. Cutter Crawford, the guy that I do not like, 5.5K he's down to. 5.5K.
Wow.
Chris Archer, not much better at 5.9K. So the question is here, do we pick on Crawford again? Or is it all about hitting in this game? What are you leaning towards?
Yeah, I like both sides. I like the Boston and the Minnesota bats. I think we can pick on Crawford, and we can pick on Chris Archer a little bit too. He's 2 for 7 with a 4.34 ERA. I just think that both sides of this matchup can get some runs here.
No doubt. The fact that it's a 9 total tells you a little something, that it's that warm in Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
I do like the hitting on both sides. I always pick on Crawford, and it's paid off recently.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to go with the lefties, Arise or Kepler or Gordon or Cave, but even some of the righties, Correa, and Miranda, one of my favorite young players in the league. He's still sub 4K, which is a bargain for a cleanup hitter in a game like this.
Yeah.
And then, the problem with Boston is you've got a few expensive guys in Bogarts and Devers at 5 and 6K, but you can get some decent value. Verdugo's only 3.7. Tommy Pham's been really hot lately. He's a little more expensive at 4.7. JD on and off at 4.5. And then they have Trevor Story back, Crash. Trevor Story, at 5K is a little pricey, and he's batting down in the 6 hole, but he's double dong any time he feels like it, really.
Right. I agree. I'm answering a question here in the chat.
I like a lot of hitting in that game. I really, really do. I like a lot of hitting there. Let's see. If he is out, Swanson will start. We're talking about Acuna. Yeah. I think he plays too because he hates Urena. I really do. I'm with you, man.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
I think he goes. Would you fade McClanahan for Luzardo to pay up for top bats? I mean, McClanahan's a stud, man.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Luzardo's not that far behind him, though. I mean, I think that with Luzardo pitching up against Tampa, who also strikes out a lot. I know Miami strikes out a lot, but so does Tampa. I think that's in a GPP especially, I think that could be a viable strategy. I do.
Yeah, I don't know. I think if I'm playing the early slate, McClanahan's just a lock and load. I just don't see not playing him. I mean, that's just me.
And just find some value with some bats, maybe some.
There's enough. I mean, there's 2K bats all over baseball right now because a bunch of the teams have given up,
Right. I think TJ Friedel, Jake Freely, Lars Nootbaar, Tyler O'Neill's been on fire lately. He's another value play. As long as his price is still down. I mean, I'm sure they're going to move him up at some point. He's just been hitting home runs right and left. He hit 2 last night. So
yeah, I mean, you really almost, if you make a decision, no matter, like I played a lineup yesterday and I looked so brilliant. What a great commercial. Don't take this snippet, Colin. But I went ahead and paid up for Burns and Rodon on my one lineup.
I did that in DraftKings too, so I'm right there with you.
But I was able to do without like dying to put the last few guys in because I had like a $2,200 number 3 hitter, I had a $2,400 cleanup hitter. So I mean, you can do it. Sell out to what you want, and you can do it. Dickerson, I've always played Dickerson. I think he's too cheap. But
I did all right though because I had I think I had like Judge and Renfroe and Mitchell, or Judge and Ohtani and Mitchell, something like that. So I had some strong bats for sure. So
welcome to the chat, Ashkashi. I'm not sure, but if you listen in here, and we'll be giving you our top pay-up picks and all of our best picks up and down. So we'll try to help you out to building something for sure. All right. So that game is going to be a key game for me as well, because some of these other games I'm going to be really not much interest in. That's for sure. There are some games that I think are really shaky. And the first one being this one. Houston Astros, Texas Rangers, 8:05 in Texas. Dome expected to be shut. Only 7.5 total. 4.14 implied for Houston. 3.36 for the Rangers. I don't want to play all the way up for Framber Valdez personally.
Yeah.
At 10.1K. Dane Dunning's okay. He's a decent young pitcher. I don't love him. I don't hate him. He's 6.4K. You got a lot of very expensive bats on the Houston side. And then, there's some Rangers where their good bats are very expensive. So this is one of those games that I'm hoping Vegas is right. That just is one of those 4-3 nonsensical. Nobody really cared. You don't get hurt either way. I doubt I'm going to have much exposure to that game.
Yeah, I totally agree. Early on in my research, I was looking at Valdez a little bit heavier, but as the days going on, I kind of feel like I'm just going to end up with Freed and trying to find some value, maybe with Manning, maybe with somebody else as an alternative pay up. But yeah, Valdez in Texas, I think that there's a potential for him to have some trouble with some of those bats. Corey Seager, Adolis Garcia, Simeon, those guys, they can give him some trouble, I think. So I'm a little concerned about that for a guy that costs as much as he does on this slate.
Yeah, it's one of those where I just don't see the value in going up for certain hitters or up for certain pitchers. And Jordan Alvarez is one of my favorites, but at 5.6, he has not exactly been in a groove lately.
No, he hasn't. And although he has decent BVP against Dane Dunning, I think I'm just going to pay for he's a little bit more, actually. He's moved up, but Acuna against Urena, that's probably going to be my top pay-up hitter.
Yeah, hopefully he plays. That'll be the key.
Yeah, if not, I'll probably play Alvarez. So,
all right. We also have an 8-10 game, Kansas City Royals at the Chicago White Sox. 7.5 is the total. It is 76 degrees in Chicago, wind blowing out to center at 12 miles an hour. Like I said, 7.5 is that total. 3.55 implied for the Royals, 3.95 for the White Sox. Very interesting matchup here because these two guys are getting some ownership. Brady Singer, 8.9K. Lucas Giolito at 8.2K. So we know the Royals have been scoring runs lately.
Yeah.
But these two guys, like I said, they've snuck up the chart here, ownership-wise, getting some people buying in on them. But I don't know. What are you looking at, pitching or hitting or neither here?
For the most part, neither, but I do have my BVP play of the day in this game. It's Salvador Perez, 2,800 on Fanduel, 4,800 on DraftKings. He's 357 against Giolito with 10 hits and 28 at-bats. 5 singles, 2 doubles, and 3 home runs. So
nice.
He will be my one-off play for my lineups, but I think that that's about it for me in this game. I don't really feel great about either side.
Yeah, Singer's hard to figure. He's been steady and really steady in stretches.
Well, especially of late. Yeah.
Yeah, he's you can make a very good case for him at his pricing, but it's in Chicago. They do have, Vaughn, Abreu, Jimenez, Sheets in the middle of that lineup, and Pollock. Their lineup has gotten better the more healthier it's gotten. So, I feel like this game is similar to the last game. There's potential there, but I just, I'm sticking with my stacks I've already committed to.
Yeah, I'm with you.
All right, another 8-10 game. I think maybe know something about this game. It is in Milwaukee. So are you expecting the roof open again?
Yeah, I think it'll be open again tonight. I think the weather is going to cooperate, so the roof will be open all 3 days. So
excellent. All right, and it's up to 9 there, so maybe the ball's going to jump a little bit more with the roof open. It is 3.86 implied for the Pirates, 5.14 for your Brewers. Mitch Keller, 6.2K versus Jason Alexander, 5.4K. So here we are, not pitching to write home about, that's for sure. But how much do we count on the bats in this game? What obviously Roundy Tellez went down for us yesterday. So we've got a little bit different look to that lineup. What are your initial thoughts?
Yeah, the latest on Tellez is that he has some knee tendonitis, but they think that he'll be fine. So hopefully he'll still be in the lineup tonight. That's what I'm hoping. If not, it's going to be Castanera. Of course, he hit the walk-off home run last night.
Yeah.
So he can hit righties, so I wouldn't mind using him if Tellez is out of the lineup. I do like the Brewers. Not just being biased, but the Pirates, they used 4 or 5 guys from their bullpen last night. And the Brewers only used Suter and Devin Williams. So I think they definitely have the advantage there once Keller goes out of the game. I think early on, probably a slight advantage to Keller over Alexander. Alexander hasn't been great at all.
No.
But once they get to the bullpen, I think the Brewers will start to really put some runs up. So Adames is my favorite play from this game, but I think the Brewers stack is definitely in play here as well. On the Pirates, I like Cruz. He's killed us. I mean, he's hit like 11 home runs and 4 of them have been against us. So
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he may lead off tonight too.
Right.
So he could be a nice play. He's only 4K. That's not bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's like 2,700 on Fanduel. So
yeah, exactly. And I have a big circle around Cruz. He's my as a one-off for me for the Pirates. I agree with you. He's got confidence against the Brewers, and Jason Alexander, also known as George, right?
Right.
He has not been anything to write home about. So
no.
I don't know if I have the guts to how do you stack the Pirates, but I guess if you want to look at Brian Reynolds there, he's got pop and the roof's open. Those would be the two guys for me, Cruz and Reynolds, sort of one-offs for the Pirates.
Yeah.
I'm not as crazy about the Brewers stack, Crash. Mitch Keller's not bad. I don't think I'd dial him up here. I saw King of Smack was asking you, what do you thought about Keller? I don't know if he's just giving you a hard time because of the Brewers but Keller's okay. But, I don't feel comfortable enough against the Brewers. With Tellez out, though, it does hurt them.
Yeah. And I don't know if he's going to be out. I think that there's a decent chance that he'll be in the lineup still. I show him as
really
projected lineup.
I think he's out. I mean, he's a big, huge dude, and he's got a tweaked knee.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I mean, the exact words from Counsell was that he thinks he'll be fine. He was walking around fine, in the post game. Could be coach speak, but we'll see. I mean, if he's out, I still think he might be back in the lineup tomorrow. So it might just be a one-day thing. So
okay. The only guy that jumped out at me was Colton Wong because I think he'll get the advantageous spot of moving up in the order if Roundy's out.
Yeah.
And he's only 3.1K and he's got pop. There's no doubt about that.
Right. Yeah. Right now they don't even have Garrett Mitchell in their projected lineup from what I'm seeing. So that's
I have him on the one I have projected. I have him in there batting ninth, but
do you show here at first base?
I have Yelich, Adames, Wong, Renfroe, McCutchen, Peterson, Hira at first. Narvaez and Mitchell as the project.
Okay, that seems more likely to me, but I mean, yeah, I definitely like Adames and Mitchell again if he's in the lineup because he's still so cheap. So
yeah, that's 5 lefties that they get to get out there against Keller too. So I think it's a great one-off kind of scenario. Across the board here.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. All right. Let's go to the next one. We're getting there. Yankees and Angels. We have 3 games left. And these are the 3 late games. So after hours, we're offering that tonight at Coach Talk. So we're going to provide an after hours slate 3-gamer, these late 3 games. We've been hot on those lately. So let's turn that into something tonight.
Well, that'll just be you, right? Because I don't think
you'll be at the game.
Yeah.
I'll be doing that solo for sure. Yankees and Angels are the first one in that late 3 after hours slate, 9:38. It is Jameson Taillon, 7.7K against Mike Mayers, 5.2K, 82 degrees, a little warmer than normal in LA for evening. 6 mile an hour to center. So some hitters delight there, looks like. 5.02 for the Yankees implied, 3.98 for the Angels. So interesting here. I like the Yankees again. I have no idea, Crash. I don't play the Yankees a ton.
Right.
I've been on them like crazy lately, but they're my other stack today. With paying down at pitching, I can get some Yankee stacks and see where we go. Benintendi's cheap. LeMahieu's not badly priced. Donaldson's cheap. Cabrera's cheap. So
Mhm.
granted, Judge Stanton, Rizzo are going to cost you a fortune, but you
Right.
could put a piece of those in there with like a 3-man Yankees. I think they smacked this Mike Mayers around, and I know I've been
Mhm.
saying that a lot, and then the Yankees scored 2 runs or whatever, but they're due to bust out. People think the Angels are a good pitching park. That's not true. You look up all their stats. Angels is a really good hitting park. They moved the fences in a couple years back, and
Yeah.
it more and more you're seeing additional home runs and everything in LA. So I just really like the spot for the Angels, or I'm sorry, for the Yankees. And I don't think the Angels are a bad play. Jameson Taillon's okay.
Mhm.
Not going to roster him today, but you can get really cheap with some of these spots in the Angels lineup.
Yeah.
How about Mike Ford, my call yesterday? That was my
Mhm.
favorite call in a long time.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was a great call, Coach.
I mean, he's the one that cashed for me on FanDuel. He saved our bacon because he was 1% owned,
Mhm.
batting 6th. The reason I loved him is the matchup, and I dug in, and he's also was a Yankee. So that, as an I had also read that he hit his first ever home run in the majors in a Yankees uniform in the Angels ballpark.
Oh,
And
wow. That's
then
awesome.
so he gets to play the Yankees for the first time against them in an Angels uniform. And what does he do? He goes deep.
Yeah.
So I was pretty pumped about that. Don't think I'll have the courage to go back to him
Mhm.
today, but he is 2K. You
Yeah.
never know.
Yeah.
But I'll have some hitting exposure in this game anyway.
Yeah, I might have to, if for whatever reason Mitchell were to not be in the lineup, I might have to go to him. So, yeah, I mean, I think the Yankees, they're my 1B, 1A, whatever you want to call it, right there with the Braves for me. So they're one of my top stacks as well.
Yep. Well, we're on the same boat hitting wise then. We're
Yeah.
different, totally different pitching, but very similar from the hitting side. So that's very solid. All
Mhm.
right. We have a 940 and a 945 game. The 940 game is Philadelphia at Arizona. We've got a 7.5 total in the dome in Arizona. Humidor on, so the ball should not be flying very well. 4 implied for the Phillies, 3.5 for the D-backs. This is one of the chalky pitchers as well. Aaron
Mhm.
Nola, 10.6K against Zach Gallen, 9.7K. So is your pay up pitcher Nola?
No, it's
Okay.
Fried.
Fried, that's right.
Yeah, he's my pay up pitcher. Now, Gallen is my fade. Going up against this Philadelphia lineup with Bryce Harper back in it.
Yeah.
I think that's a tough matchup for him. He's faced them once before, and 6 of their bats hit 333 or better against him with 3 home runs. So
wow,
they had he only lasted like 1 2/3 innings. That was back in June, so it's been a little while. But yeah, I think that this lineup with Harper back in it's completely different animal. And I mean Schwarber, Hoskins, Harper, Real Muto, Castellanos, and Bohm in there too. So at the top, so it's a pretty tough lineup to get past. I think Gallen will struggle.
It is, and I think you'll see ownership there. I'm surprised it's not a top stack. I mean, it's in the mix with that group.
It
But,
has to be.
I guess there's some respect for Gallen. He struggled last time out, but he's a decent pitcher.
Right.
Certainly can get exposure, but you've got pricey guys. Schwarber 5'8", Hoskins 5'3", Harper 5'7", Realmuto 5'5". So good luck, getting. I mean, it's just as expensive as a Dodgers or Yankees stack or more.
Yeah, so we just got some pretty slate shifting news. Ronald Acuna Jr. is not in the Atlanta lineup.
Okay, so he is out. My BVP play has been eliminated.
Swanson, Michael Harris, Riley, which that's a surprise. Harris is up way at second. Swanson, Harris, Riley, Olson, Darno, Rosario, Contreras, Grissom, and Grossman.
Wow. Very interesting. All right, I'm going to give you a backup BVP play, and it's going to be pretty contrarian because it's against Framber Valdez. I'm going to go Corey Seager. He's expensive, I get it, Small sample size, but that's fine. We do that here. 5 for 12 with a home run. He's batting 417 against them, 1083 OPS, 583 slugging, 500 OBP. So a lot of people are going to have Valdez. It'll bring down Seager's ownership, and I think that he's definitely a guy that could go deep. So he's my new BBP play.
I like that.
All right. Yeah, that is a big difference. I'm glad we know now. It allows us to build it out a lot differently. So that is very helpful. Thank you for breaking that news. Anything else I've missed in, hey, everyone had a work meeting. Now I can play. All right, RJ. It's never too late, man. Plus you can watch it back. And I'm hoping that you have your sunglasses on, because right now my retinas are burning. This glare is just killing me, but I'm gonna just fire through this and finish strong. So no problem. All right. Last game, Crash. And it's an important one for me. It's probably going to come down to this game at the very end of the slate.
Yeah.
The San Diego Padres at the San Francisco Giants. Only 59 degrees at first pitch. Swirling wind as always in San Fran. 7.5's the total. 3.92 implied for the Pods. 3.58 for the San Francisco Giants. Fastballing Mr. Blake Snell, the big lefty, 9.3K against Logan Webb, 9.1K.
Yeah.
So I have my other, what I consider pay up / value / guy that's in the middle guy. I'm taking Blake Snell against the Giants.
Okay.
I love Blake Snell in this matchup. He's only $9,300, $9,500, and $42. So again, based with everybody else, not really value per se, but I guess you could call him my pay up, but I think he's cheaper than normal.
Yeah.
But I love this spot for him. San Francisco's 4th in the league in strikeouts against lefties, and they're a team that people don't think they obviously strike out. And if you look at the performance, Snell's faced them twice this year. He faced them on July 8th for a 58 bagger, struck out 11. Then he faced them again on August 8th and 38, that time with 8 Ks. And he's just, I know he had a bad outing, punched me in the gut last time against Cleveland, but the Guardians do that to a lot of guys. And I love him in that pitching in this ballpark. I love this situation for him. San Francisco's not hitting, and I just think he's in an awesome spot here. And he's definitely going to be my 1-1A with Gausman as my top 2. And my fade pitchers on the other side, I think he's going in the wrong direction fast. That would be Mr. Webb, of course. And San Diego's lineup is just too dangerous with all those big sticks, even in a game where the weather and the ballpark is conducive to pitching. I still think San Diego can get to him. So way overpriced too, over 9K for Logan Webb is my fade.
Yeah, I don't like Logan Webb. He's kind of in the same situation as Gallen, where he's facing a team that's trying to make the wild card. I meant to mention that before, because Philadelphia and San Diego are right there, game and a half ahead of the Brewers. So those 3 are all trying to get in that wild card spot. So they're all fighting for their lives. So I think San Diego is going to be a tough out going forward. They've really underperformed with that trade that they made. So you think at some point regression is going to favor them.
You would think so. Rodney asked about Manning. I'm surprised, because that's Crash's GPP, real small 1% or less owned guy that he's looking at. So Crash is on that with you, Rodney. And then Kirby, neither one of us took him for one of our top pitchers, but we both like him. I think he's in a good spot.
Yeah.
Kirby is very playable.
Detroit's definitely been playing better lately, but everything we've seen from them tells us that they're going to regress soon. So I wouldn't be surprised if that happens today.
Yeah. Who's the birdie that told you to play lefties against Snell? I wonder who that is. I hope it wasn't me like the last time, and I'm going against myself here. But Yeah, I mean, it's just if you look at that San Francisco lineup, though, it's shaky. I mean, they're not having good seasons at all. You talk about, backing up. Look at what Brandon Crawford's just collapsed. He was fourth. Do you know that Brandon Crawford, I believe, finished fourth in MVP voting last year? Something incredible. And he's just, horrible this year. So I don't know. I think Snell's in a good spot here against a team that's just really in reverse. No question about it.
I agree.
Yeah. All right. So to review, we're pretty much similar stacks, with Atlanta and New York. I like Minnesota a little bit against Cutter. We're all over the place on pitchers. For me, I'm looking more towards a Gausman Snell kind of look and not paying all the way up. Although I do think, you can't go wrong with a few of those guys. Neither one of us is on Framber Valdez. I really like Freeman as my home run call today. What about you? Want to pull your stuff together here in just a short piece for the people that joined late?
Yeah. So I like for my top pitcher is Max Fried. My value pitcher is Matt Manning. My fade is Zach Gallen. My BVP play is Salvador Perez. My home run call is Matt Olson. And I also added another home run call for the Brewers game, and that's Willie Adonis. So,
Gotcha. Oh, Mad Dog. Okay, I respect that. Mad Dog said to play those lefties. If you want to join us at Coach Talk, dfscoachtalk.com. Try us out. 3-day pass, $10. We just released our football pricing of 3 months, $65 a month. Everything that we've got here at Coach Talk is yours, from tennis to MMA to NASCAR, all the main sports, all the way through January 13th, 2023. So we'd love to have you join on dfscoachtalk.com. Check us out on Twitter. We're all at DFS Coach Talk. Crash is at JP Davis 1982. I'm at Joe Sarvati. We're also on TikTok. And then any day now, we're going to be the Boom Fantasy launch is going to happen. Just waiting for final approval from them for their app through Apple. And once that goes, we're going to have some contests and do all kinds of things with Boom Fantasy, which is going to be a very similar site to like a PrizePicks. And we're going to have some giveaways. It's fantastic. I've seen some of their stuff already. As soon as it launches, we will share that with you. So speaking of PrizePicks and Boom Fantasy, what are your top 2 PrizePicks plays of the day, Crash?
Depending on what they do, because it's Tuesday for their Taco Tuesday promo, it's going to be Matt Manning over 26.5 fantasy score. I think you can get over that number. As I mentioned, he scored 40 plus in 3 of his last 4, went over 50 in his last start against the Giants. And then my BVP play, Salvador Perez over 6.5 fantasy score. I like that number. He's got really good numbers against Giolito.
Very nice. I could play those. David, how you doing, man? So glad you joined us, brother. And yes, you are right. Crash lost the bet, and it's not pretty. That's all I'm saying. I think you ought to paint the big Milwaukee Brewers thing right on there and go in with that stuff.
Yeah.
That might get you on ESPN. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe. Yeah.
Great to have you in here, Dave. And you can watch it back. It'll post up on YouTube. You can watch it on Twitter, rewatch it, and we'll have it on our website as well. My 2 PrizePicks plays are Blake Snell over 7 Ks. Like I said, I think he's just in a great spot. San Fran, who people think don't strike out much, strike out 4th most in the league against lefties. So I think that 7 number is very fair. And Mr. Freeman, it's only 7.5 fantasy score. He's got everything going for him BVP here wise today. So I'm really high on Mr. Freeman. I think great over 7.5 fantasy score. Boom plays, Crash. Let me guess. Brewers on the money line. No?
Actually, I'm going to go with another underdog like I have been lately, and I'm going to take Detroit at plus 165.
Oh, wow. You are all in on Mr. Manning here. You know, it's not Peyton Manning, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I know.
Or any of the Manning brothers, but okay. I love
Yeah.
it. You have a lot of courage. I like it. I'm going to be just totally less courageous and take the New York Yankees minus 165. How's that for chalky?
Yeah.
Where's our man boy from Cali rubbing the chalk and the nose there? But just think the Yanks are better.
Mm-hmm.
How about play number 2?
I'll take the over at 7.5 implied run total for Philly and Arizona. I think that Philly can probably put up 6 or 7 runs themselves, and I think Arizona will probably get 2 or 3. So, I like that over at 7.5.
I think Philly's going to grab more ownership as the day goes on, no doubt about it.
Yeah, I would think so.
Here's a little bit of a dog play. Since I like San Diego so much better than San Fran, I'm going to take the Padres at home on the run line minus 1.5. Right.
Yeah.
Padres minus 1.5 plus 138. So you get a real good plus number with that. And you should get that extra at bat. We'll see at the end of that game. So I'm going to take the Padres minus 1.5. I think that's it, my man. We went a little longer than normal today, but I wanted to give everybody the full experience to soak in all that wonderful aura there from the Charlie Morton bet.
Yeah, we had 15 games to cover, so we had a lot to cover.
We had a lot to cover, and tomorrow's Deb. So definitely join tomorrow. Deb and I are on at 1:30, our regular time. Crash will be finishing up his trip there with his dad. So enjoy the game. Maybe you get a foul ball tonight. Where are you sitting?
We're sitting like 11 rows up from home plate. So we're not too far behind home plate at all. A lot of the foul balls last night were going into the second deck. So I think it'll be tough, just the way we're positioned. But, we're sitting where we can see the game really well. So that was our focus.
That sounds great. Well, enjoy it. I hope it goes well. I hope your Brewers win for you. And hopefully we have a bunch of takedowns to talk about as we're going. So, outstanding. Well, thank you for joining me on the road, Crash. Really appreciate it. And everybody, thank you again for it's a Tuesday. We had a really good group in here. Hopefully everybody got a lot out of the podcast to build some things. Keep an eye on that weather in Washington, and we'll keep everybody posted in Discord. So it's dfscoachtalk.com. On the way out, if you haven't hit the thumbs up and subscribe button and hit that alert so that you know when any of our podcast posts. So thank you, everybody. Definitely be back tomorrow with Deb to go over a very busy Wednesday slate. So have a great one. Thank you. And we'll see you tomorrow when we look to crush it in MLB DFS, PrizePicks, and Boom Fantasy.